your boundaries aren't going to change overnight, but they are going to change with a decision. One of the greatest joy and the greatest pains in your life will come from people. But a lot of people will go to extremes on things.
So you give all your money and you think, well, I have long suffering. God's going to provide. That mindset. You're not setting boundaries with your money and then you don't have any.
They do that.
Did I tell you to do that? Or did you do that because you felt convicted because of what other people tell you a Christian is supposed to do?
So now I'm expecting God to give me a miracle because I don't know how to steward my money. We personalize no's. It's like, I said no, so why is that a personal attack on our relationship? What you mean to me?
Just all those three things in that one moment, I was like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. It was like, is this like a panic attack or something? It was so weird. This is the first time ever, probably the only time I ever felt that. What's going on, guys? This is just Ashley Keaton with the JAK podcast. If you guys could do me a huge favor and consider subscribing, and in return, we will do everything in our power to commit ourselves to studying the Bible, to bring it to layman's terms, to make it applicable to your lives, to help you in your future and even now in your present. And we will continue to find the guests that you want us to speak to. Just drop them in the comments. Without further ado, let's get into the conversation. So, Jesse, boundaries. That's the topic. That's the topic for today. It's a very interesting and a lot of times controversial topic, which it shouldn't be. I feel like most people struggle more with having boundaries than like having way too many to where you're just building a wall. I feel like most people have more struggle just having them, period, just having a healthy amount of boundaries. I haven't seen too many people where they just have a wall built and they just, I tell you that this is what I see a lot of times. They have boundaries in place incorrectly. So they have incorrect boundaries. And then in a lot of other ways, they won't have boundaries where they need to have boundaries. So for instance, the people that may care about you and they want the best for you, you have a boundary that you won't let them change that you won't let them even attempt to change your belief because you're too afraid to lose your belief, because you'd rather have your belief than the truth. And in retrospect, there's a boundary that needs to be put in place to protect you from other things, like people in your life that just take and take and take from you, and you just get sick and wasted, and you don't have anything to offer anybody, and you lash out because you didn't have those boundaries in place. So that's one thing I notice from boundaries. What comes to mind when we're speaking about creating healthy boundaries? Like some of the first steps you take to just try to get a good amount of healthy boundaries, assess what type of boundaries I need. Like, how do you go about that process? Or how have you gone about that process, I'll say?
Well, I think the biggest thing when it comes to having boundaries is first you got to understand, well, what is a boundary? You know, a lot of people, from what I see, and this isn't just in boundaries, but a lot of people will go to extremes on things. So some people will have no boundaries when you can start falling into people pleasing. And some people will go to the other extreme because they've probably been hurt really bad. And like you said, they'll put walls up.
Yeah.
And I think for people, it's important to understand, why do I even need a boundary? And what is that? First off, just when it even comes to boundaries, just understanding why we even need them and what they are. In the same way that we have a skull to protect our brain and ribs to protect our heart, in a physical aspect, you need boundaries to protect you from mental and emotional and in relationships when you're dealing with people. And I actually heard this quote, which is, I think, a great foundation for people to understand why they need boundaries, and that is, one of the greatest joy and the greatest pains in your life will come from people. And I think when people understand that, that will help them understand why they need boundaries in their daily lives. Because if you don't have them, then your relationships, your emotional life, your financial life, all of these different your spiritual life, all these different aspects of you living will suffer because you don't know how to implement healthy boundaries when it comes to you dealing with people and even you dealing with yourself. So
boundaries are such a normal, it's I say natural part of life that gets so stigmatized. And people get offended. And when you start making changes, because like you did something that wasn't right and you were hanging around people, maybe, we used to, you know, not us, but just for example, some people, they do drugs and they're in the streets and they're just, they're hanging out. And then when they change the word, oh, you changed. And it's a stigmatism on it. I say stigmatism. What am I talking about? It's like with the
stigmatism.
They can't see right. They can't see right.
What are you talking about? I know the word you're looking for. A stigma. Yeah,
a stigma. Cut that part out, Carly.
Yeah, cut it out of here.
There's a stigma on changing, but obviously we know like everybody is supposed to change. That's a given. But even God himself from the beginning set boundaries. When you read in Genesis, you see that God set boundaries. Genesis 1:4, he established boundaries in nature. The Garden of Eden, God set a clear boundary. Adam and Eve, I don't want you to eat of this tree. I want you to eat of this tree. He set a boundary. Why would you not want me to eat that? Boundaries are offensive to people. In Genesis 2:16 through 17, it talks about him setting those boundaries for them. And Jesus he withdrew from crowds and isolated himself to pray and rest in Luke 5:16, Mark 6:31. He didn't allow others to control his mission. John 6:15. Now that's powerful because you have a mission, you have a direction from God, and because you don't have boundaries in place, the Bible says a double-minded man is like a city without walls. Those are boundaries. So if you don't have boundaries, you're an unstable man. You're very unstable. You're people-pleasing. And that is the issue that we have with being a people pleaser. And it's hard for Christians to come out of those things because we are taught long suffering without true context. We are taught esteem others above yourself without true context. But then we forget the Bible says the first commandment is to love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and your strength. And then to love your neighbor as yourself. So how do you know how to love your neighbor? What boundaries do you think your neighbor needs? We're quick to say, oh, you shouldn't hang out with that person. You're so quick to set boundaries for other people. But then when it comes to your friend setting boundaries and say, oh, I can't be around you. Oh, that stung. I could tell you not to hang around other people, but don't dare cut me off. Don't dare, not even cut me off. We will say, don't you dare take time away from me. That's offensive to me. As much as I hurt and as much as I want to be around you, if you took a break from me, I'm okay with it. I understand. It's needed. I don't want you to lash out on me. I'm keeping you from what God has for you. John 6:15, he did not let other people take him away from his mission.
And imagine what it would look like if Jesus did that and he let everybody influence. Remember they tried to do that with Moses. When he went on Mount Sinai to pray, they were grumbling down below the mountain or whatever, what's he up there doing? And they went and built the golden calf and stuff like that. So they had their boundaries or whatever. But people feel like they get to establish other people's boundaries of what they think is right for them.
Those boundaries are weird.
And this is why it's important for you to know your own, because only you can do, let's just say, for instance, 3 podcasts a day or something like that. I might only can do 1. And so if you're like, what you mean you only can do 1? Like, well, that's all the energy I have to do. And I might be able to build to that. And this
that
is just
may
a
not
practical
be
example.
Your mission. It may not be your specific mission to take on this much of the podcast. Your mission, you have so many more things attached to your mission. So like if we're going out praying, it'll be a terrible thing for a Christian to say, I can't, they use that. You can't pray 1 hour to death, bro. They have no idea what they're saying.
You can't pray 1 hour.
Like when Jesus says, you can't pray with me 1 hour. It's like Jesus was with them. He knows their schedule, bro. Totally different than me having stuff going on. And this is how boundaries in the church are needed, because you have people that are getting burnt out. They can't say no. And they don't. Do you have faith in God that you can have a good service without this person preaching? Does he have to preach every single Sunday? You can't give him any type of break to rest. Why did Jesus himself needed to take a rest and isolate himself from people, but we can't? I hear God don't take vacations. I'm sure God don't take vacations, but him in human flesh was suffering.
I guess with that, I just wonder, when they say vacations, I wonder what they actually mean by that.
I don't know if they count the 7th day either, because God did say he rested on the 7th day.
Yeah, I'm like, when you say vacation,
I won't call it a vacation, but
it's like, I feel like when they say that, I wonder if they're talking in terms of like, when you take a vacation, you forget about God. I feel like that can sometimes be conflated to the same thing. Or are you saying, God did, well, even though God does rest, so that'd even be crazy. But
it's like, be ready in season, right? And we don't have balance, which is boundaries. We don't have balance when exegeting the text of the Bible. We never exegete the balance that's in the scripture. When the Bible says, be angry and sin not, there's balance in that verse, because there has to be emotion, because you can't get rid of it. There's some people that say anger is a sin and I don't want to be angry. They're not understanding the balance that's in the scripture. When the Bible says, if you look on a woman to lust after her, you've committed adultery in your heart. But then also it tells you that you cannot take fire in your bosom and not be burned. So there's balance to tell you that, yes, you have desires, and you should find a wife, and you're going to be attracted to people, but know that you need a boundary to protect yourself from doing this the wrong way. Don't think that you can be in a temptation situation and be God because you're a man. Don't be stupid. Have boundaries. I had a friend, and he told me one day, I said, I don't want to go over that girl's house. Like, we're cool, but I don't want to go over her house, because we were talking. He says, that's what that church is telling you. The church wants to keep you from. I'm like, no, this is a conviction I have, but yes, the church is also in agreement. But I set a boundary for myself, because if I go over her house, I don't trust my teeth not to bite my tongue. So I'm not going to trust myself at her. It's too many people just making this the norm. They make the norm to just go over that girl's house, and slowly but surely things just start happening. And then we get looked at like the weird people because we set boundaries. And we're supposed to be these godlike people, or we're weak. In school all the time, I said, no, I don't do stuff like that. And they're like, oh, you must have a lust problem. I'm like, I thought we all had I don't know. I thought we all had a lust problem in a sense.
Exactly.
But I mean, I feel like is the guy that's having sex all the time,
Does
with
he not
different
have
women.
one?
Does he not have one? Well, no, because he's doing it in his own control. Like that's what they say. But if you're okay with having sex all the time, then of course you don't feel like you need self-control because you don't have a problem with having sex.
Exactly.
You don't have any boundaries. So you're unstable.
Anti-boundaries could be anti-God. It's like you really don't understand the importance and the fact that it's even what they call this, the law first mentioned, but the fact that boundaries were in place, keeping the waters from the earth, it's like
Yes.
clearly boundaries are important, and boundaries are everywhere. You got them in your body, you got them within the earth, kind of like you talked about. And
Yeah.
so it's like, why would you not want to utilize something that's just protecting you from all of this stuff that you don't
Yeah.
have to face? So yeah.
Boundaries keep everything in their proper place. Boundaries are, I want to say, if I'm saying the right word, categorizers.
Mm.
Boundaries categorize things appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
What's so crazy is Jesus could easily do miracles, right? But in Luke 23, I'm gonna read. This was so powerful to me. Luke 23, 8-9. Because you got to think about the Christian that gets burnt out because people want to overly use this person.
Mm-hmm.
And to be real, I don't think I was ever overly used. There may have been times where I felt a little pushed.
Luke what?
Luke 23, 8-9. So this is not like Ashley felt overused at church. No, never that. It was, I love doing what I do. But so Luke 23, this is because I know a lot of Christians go through this. So that's where I'm pushing. Luke 23, 8-9. And when Herod saw Jesus, he was exceeding glad. He was glad, for he was desirous to see him for a long season, because he had heard many things of him, and he hoped to have seen some miracle done by him. Then he questioned with him in many words, but he answered him nothing. What? So Jesus did not do miracles in that moment. And the chief priests and scribes stood and vehemently accused him. And Herod with his men of war set him at naught and mocked him and arrayed him in a gorgeous robe and sent him again to Pilate. Well, they were already in that process, but the key point, he's hearing these miracles. They're saying, oh, if you're God, come down from the cross. And see, God is for his mission. When you get so focused on your mission that you have boundaries in place, you have to risk hurting people's feelings.
1000%.
You have to risk hurting people.
1000%.
They feel sometimes I feel like when I set a boundary, everybody and their mom are going to tell you that you're supposed to be there for this person. You're supposed to be there for them. You're supposed to, and then you're taking on the job of God himself, and you can't.
My goodness. I just felt that. They saying you're supposed to be there for this person, but what about being there for yourself? And it's like, well, if they matter, do I not matter? So if I take time to pour back into me, or to set a boundary, or to protect myself from things that I'm not able to do right now, how am I wrong when I'm just looking out for me? And people make it seem like looking out for me, my own self, is selfish. But it's like God created me, and everything that he's given me, which is including my body, he wants you to steward properly. So if you're not stewarding yourself properly, then you're not really being a good steward of what God has given you. And so by me looking out for me, whether that's pouring knowledge into myself, protecting myself from emotional and relational snakes, or whatever the case may be, I'm stewarding my body properly. I'm stewarding my mind properly. I'm stewarding my soul properly, so that I can be on my mission for God, so that I can take care of the thing that he created. And so that, I mean, that's what I would volley back with. Like, it's like, well, you want me to look out for them, which it's not that I don't want to, but I have to look out for me as well because God created me. So,
you know what I think about when you say stewardship? My first thought is to go to the word budget.
mm-hmm.
If you use that word budget in other aspects of your life, you're creating boundaries to do what you actually can instead of trying to do what you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you're going in debt at that point.
Exactly. So you give all your money and you think, well, I have long suffering. God's going to provide. That mindset. You're not setting boundaries with your money, and then you don't have any, and you're like, well, God, what's going on?
Then
well,
why would you? Oh God, they do that.
Did I tell you to do that, or did you do that because you felt convicted because of what other people tell you a Christian is supposed to do? Where are they getting this from? I just need the verse to say, where are you supposed to give all your money away? Where is it? Like, I don't have to. The Bible, if the Bible tells me to be responsible with the things that he gives me, when he gives all the man the talents and one puts it in the ground, another one is investing them. It's like, why are you not using your money for God to where it has the most effectiveness, to where it's most effective? You don't want to be the most effective with what God gives you?
Exactly.
It's not about buying a nice, like a flashy car. Like, if you can afford to do that, I'm not saying I'm even against it. But my point is, prioritize your priorities. And everything else is the other secondary things. Just know how to categorize them. And this, to me, is what setting boundaries is about. It's all through scripture. God himself, he didn't come down here to do miracles for every single person. And even today, people say, oh, miracles aren't real because I've never seen them. How do you know it's just not time for God to do a miracle yet? Like every single place where God's doing miracles, you had to wait 400 years for another one. Like, they're not writing miracles every single verse in the Bible when Jesus was here. And he has boundaries for healings too. He gonna heal you, and then you're gonna eat the wrong foods.
That's what I was just about to get at.
You can't just eat what you want. You can't just spend your money. That food is such a clear indication that we can't just do whatever we want. If you can eat whatever, if you can spend your money and give your money away however you want to, why don't you just give away all your food and never eat?
Exactly.
Or why don't you just eat makes no sense.
And you talking about the miracles. Some people want miracles because they don't know how to have boundaries. It's like, I don't know how to do with my money right, so now I'm expecting God to give me a miracle because I don't know how to steward my money. Or, God, can you, and I'm not saying that because I believe in miracles, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But my thing is, you want God to do a miracle in what a principle broke. It's like, no, you just need to fix your boundaries. You don't even need a miracle in this moment. You just need to fix your boundaries. You need to stop giving all your time away. You need to stop giving all your money away. And I know that I want to say this too, because I know that it can sound easier to do than people make it seem, because you do have that battle of letting people down, which like people don't like that. That doesn't feel good if you feel like you're letting somebody down, especially when it comes to boundaries with kids or boundaries with your spouse or boundaries with your parents. Those things can get like very, not saying it's still needed, but those things, I know they can be harder to do. But nonetheless, they're still important and they still need to be done. I mean, yeah.
You said something real good with miracles, like, and something came to me that people want to be rewarded with a miracle for their bad stewardship. So
exactly,
this is what they take everywhere in their life. And even they say, I don't know how to lose weight. It's like, you literally just went to Chick-fil-A on the way here.
And called it Christian chicken.
It is Christian chicken. We can be honest about that, Jesse. But, you know, you can be spiritually fat with Christian chicken. You can't just keep reading a word and not,
They say, well, it's Christian chicken, so I can eat this all day, every day.
Yeah.
No, you need to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, and setting a budget with your calories, setting a budget with your relationships. How much time do you have for this person? How much time do you like if you literally have to sit down and say, "Okay, let me reset." Um, you have to start from the ground up again, and you have to also put in your budget, be prepared for others feeling uncomfortable. Be prepared for that. Like if you fast, think about, okay, who has a birthday coming up? Go ahead and so if you set your boundaries, go ahead and try to prepare because obviously some things you're not going to be ready for, but you do want to make sure that everything in your life is categorized and you want to adapt. I love what Darius Daniels said. Dr. Darius Daniels.
Doctor.
Yeah,
For sure.
right.
Doctorate.
Because he talked about the 4 different types of relationships: your mentor, your friends, your business partners, and your assignments. Those are very important. We won't go too far into those, but that is also a part of boundaries. Like, hey,
they're everywhere. It's crazy.
You're my friend. You may be able to mentor to me somewhat, but there's a boundary because you can't just be my leader. We're kind of on the same, we're kind of figuring out some things together. You can help me with this, I can help you with that. But as far as me following in my friend's footsteps, that's not your role. So don't think, so I have to create a boundary to say, hey, don't think that you can cross that line and tell me what to do. You're in the friend category. So I got to set a boundary. Sometimes they can catch on and you might not have to say anything.
Yeah.
But you do have to know. That's the problem too. People want boundaries and they feel they need one, but they can't explain it. If you need to write it down and put it into words, you need to know what your boundaries are. You can't just wing it with boundaries.
Oh God, no.
You can't just, well, let me just back up a little bit. No. What do you actually need to do? Let's figure this out. That's why, like, going to therapy, I would say, is such a great thing because you have somebody there to listen to you organize yourself. Organization, such a key part in creating boundaries. If you're not organized, your boundaries are going to be so random. And then people are going to be so thrown off because you never took the time to just say, hey, I respect what you're trying to do, but I don't do. You could easily create a boundary and just say, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing that. And they'd be like, oh, okay. Instead of getting mad later because they don't know your boundary. You never told them they can't read your mind. You just expect them to know. And then you judge them for being a terrible person because you never told them your boundary.
And that's why I talked about earlier is people who are having these boundaries. It's like, it's your job to uphold your boundaries. It's not other people's job. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. They can be respectful of it, right? But it's your job, my bad, to implement them. Other people, yeah, they should respect your boundary for sure. They should do that. But it's your job to properly communicate what it is and then implement it. But if you can't have boundaries with yourself, it's probably going to be hard to have boundaries with people. And I think like when you talked about the calories or the money and like there's so many things, and I feel like I talked about how boundaries are really, I feel like anti-God. It's like you don't realize how much he implemented boundaries to help us flourish. If you don't have boundaries with your money, you're probably going to suffer financially. If you don't have boundaries with your emotions and you just get angry and rage, that's why you talk about angry and sin not, you're probably going to have problems with your emotions. If you don't have boundaries with your relationships, you're probably going to suffer relationally. And so I just think you can implement boundaries in almost, if not every area of your life. Like, and I just think that is so important and will help people so much if they just take the concept of what boundaries mean and just, and I'm not saying it's going to be perfect and you might still struggle with it. And I'm not saying it's not going to be a struggle and it's going to be a little bit harder, maybe relationally than it may be financially. but it's the process of, I know this is good for me, and I know this is a way for me to flourish and a way that I can show I love myself and things like that. Why not start trying to do that and implement those into your life?
Yeah. I wanted to break something down because this was a statistic done by the American Psychological Association. 64% of Americans feel stressed by work or personal responsibilities, often due to poor boundaries.
Mm.
That's probably not even the half of the issues that people have. You know, there's probably not even the just things that were reported.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the
Exactly.
unreported ones where people, imagine how many people have issues and they just hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get help because they keep saying, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And they don't
Jeez.
assess situations. They don't have anybody. They don't even practice talking out and organizing these things. So they will never get to the place where they can even set these things correctly. Like time off from I'm telling you, when it comes to honestly, boundaries goes so much into like priorities.
Oh, for sure.
Like, how do you prioritize your life? I mean, people put ministry way up here. Ministry is what God has given you. Ministry is not God himself.
Mm.
People need to understand that
Mm.
because your family was also given to you by God.
Uh-oh.
And why did God put you so close to your family and you didn't grow up with all the people in your church? There's a reason why God naturally allowed things to happen. I have to take care of my family first. If I can't take care of, I have to take care of myself before I'm able to properly take care of my family. Because if I don't have any resources for my family, it doesn't mean that my family is not esteemed above me. But it's like my neighbor. Like, you can esteem your neighbor above you. But if you don't take care of yourself first, then you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have not allowed yourself to get resources to even help that person. You're not at a place where you could give people value because you're not allowing yourself to be poured into.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put something in place to say, I got to stop this right here so nobody can take away things that I don't even have.
Exactly.
You're trying to take things from me that I don't even have, and I have to try to form and accumulate it to give to you because I feel bad and you're making me feel guilty. And it's not even helping you because you need that from God. There's a heart posture with God that needs to be established. That's why the Bible says, first, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, soul, strength. You have to love God with everything you like, bro. When you love yourself before you love God, you will eat that cheeseburger and think it's gonna make you happy. When you love yourself first before you love God, you are seeking pleasure and happiness. But the Bible says the joy of the Lord is my strength. When I have joy in the Lord, when I tell God how much I love him, how much he has done for me, I can recognize what God has done for me. I can recognize it. I'm not pessimistic. I'm optimistic. I can see God. When I'm going through this, I still know that you have a plan for me. It's going to be okay. I feel okay. You will help me create these boundaries. I'm not going to give my complete self to somebody as if I'm giving myself to God.
And I would argue that you wouldn't even be able to have boundaries if it wasn't for God. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about loving God first,
Yeah.
it's like, well, it's funny because that's a boundary in itself. You know what I'm saying? like having your love go to God before yourself. But it's like you wouldn't even be able to have these boundaries in the thoughts of him if it wasn't for him. Because he's the one who showed us in the beginning with creation that these things were even important.
Yeah.
And when you were talking, I don't remember exactly what you said, but it just made me think of people who really struggle with boundaries. And I forgot exactly what you were saying or how you said it, but I think people who struggle with boundaries think they are experts at loving people when really they're just masters at negating themselves. And it's like,
That's so true.
bro, it's like you don't realize that, like, you think that you doing all of this, oh, I'm helping people and I'm doing all this, and it's like, no, you're really just great at expending yourself and draining yourself and not taking care of yourself. And when you brought up, that's what it was. When you brought up the second commandment, which is love your neighbor as yourself. So many people, they hear it, but they don't really know that it says as yourself. Because I used to think that I say, oh, love your neighbor. Okay, that's second.
Then you're like, we read it in the order of the verse, the way we see it in the verse.
And we don't read it as a prerequisite to loving your neighbor. As I need to love myself.
Your neighbor is so important that you need to know how to love yourself to love them.
Exactly.
How are you? You know, you hear more negative comments about people towards their neighbor because they don't love themselves. That's why they say when people talk badly about you, it's a reflection of how they see themselves. Because it stems off of that verse. I don't know if people realize it, but the reason you can treat your neighbor so badly is because you don't know. See, when you make a mistake, you are so guilty and you feel so terrible that when someone else makes a mistake, you can't stand them. You would know how to forgive your neighbor for doing you wrong if you knew how to forgive yourself. That's why it is so important to fully understand how to forgive yourself.
If you can do that to yourself,
because you can't know how to forgive anybody else.
You'll be able to do it to your neighbor because you know all your thoughts. You know all your mishaps, all your failures, everything about you that you do this wrong and that you do this right. We know every critical thing, right? So if you can forgive yourself, you probably have no problem forgiving your neighbor.
Yeah.
That's big.
And then communication. You have to communicate your boundaries very firm and correct. And Jesus showed us this in Matthew 5:37. He says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. There's so many verses that can go with these concepts.
Stand on it.
The Bible laid it all out. Be fully persuaded in this. You have to know where you stand. You cannot. The Bible says if someone attacks you, I don't know how it words it, but turn the other cheek. So you have to set a boundary in yourself to control yourself, to have self-control before that even happens, to say, how am I going to act when a situation happens? Because people call it they think it's a very tough man who's able to attack someone after they've been attacked. But it is such a strong man to be able to take the attacks and to be able to turn their enemy into a friend. How much more strength does that take? Instead of attacking somebody, you have allowed God to use you to transform somebody to becoming someone else. Yo, that right there, turning someone that's so convinced that they have a problem with you into a friend.
Yeah.
That strength only comes from God.
Yeah.
And you have to stay firm. People may push back, and you have to know maintaining boundaries is essential. In Galatians 1:10, it says, if I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. So, like you
Mm.
said, when people don't have boundaries, it is anti-God. You're trying to please people. Now you're putting people above God because he had a mission for you. But what's more important is how you feel.
Oh
You're
my
more
goodness.
afraid. People would rather just say yes because in the moment, it hurts less than letting somebody down when you say no. But that is crippling you. Like that's like the quick like, oh, I'm relieved because I don't have to worry about them hating me because I said no. But imagine how much freedom you'll get from just clearly saying, my boundaries don't allow me to do that. I have this going on. I'd love to do that. But because of what I have to
Because
do today,
we personalize no's. It's like I said no, so why is that a personal attack on our relationship or on what you mean to me? And it's like, no, I just said no because I'm not able to do that.
yeah,
And that's why we talked about the priorities. It's like your priority, it may be a priority for you, for me to do that, but it's not a priority in my life. It's a priority in your life. And so
yes,
trying to take your priorities because you need me to do something, it's like, okay, but what about what I need to do? And if I'm able to, then I will. But it's like, just because I don't doesn't mean I don't want to. It just means that I got something else I got to do.
right.
And so I think people need to understand that, like, that's okay. It's okay that you can't do that for that person right now and that you got to do something for yourself. And I'm not saying it's so easy, and I'm not saying you won't have like that fear of whether it be abandonment or that fear of just like the confrontation of like, because you never said no before.
Yeah.
And maybe you can't say no at this instance, but you can say no on a smaller thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that may be. Maybe you got to start with saying no to yourself when it comes to junk food. And then you kind of can build up into, okay, now I got enough.
Definitely got to train with yourself
Yeah,
first.
for sure. And that maybe now you got enough confidence to tell your mom no. I can't help you with that bill this month.
Yeah. So the something I was gonna say about being able to say no. Okay. With your boundaries, with that, you realize that you may have nothing to do that day. And then someone asks you, hey, can you do this? But people only think about, okay, well, you can do this because you have time to do this. But that's not the only thing to consider
Exact. Oh, that's good.
because, I mean, this is, bro, this is going to bring some people some healing because when you think about this was the day you took to rest and not do anything.
Mm.
But people want to say, oh, well, you have time. So they want to
Whew.
dictate your schedule for you.
Boy, that's good.
So, yeah. So I'm telling you, people do not feel bad. Anybody out there that feels like someone is trying to dictate your schedule and you have like, yo, you could have time set out to be in the car right before you get to work and talk to God, like whatever your schedule. People don't know, like, oh, but you're not doing anything. You may want to talk to somebody.
Whew.
You may have time. I just want to sit down and watch a movie and just, there's
Oh
nothing.
my
You
goodness.
just want to
You got this
relax.
bubbling in me right now because that is
Yo,
so good.
yeah,
You just made me think of an example. So my friend, she just had her baby, right?
mm-hmm.
And she called me and was like saying, well, she pretty much saying like, hey, do you want to come see him and stuff like that? And it was on a Tuesday. Now, mind you, Tuesdays are my rest days.
Yeah,
And so, and I haven't seen him, right? And so
yeah,
part of me was thinking in my head, like, dang, I haven't seen him. I do need to go see him. Because I want to. Um, and I don't want to, and she might not even feel this way, right? But this is just my own thoughts and the arguments that you're gonna have when it comes to setting the boundary.
mm,
And my thought was like, I want to see the baby. I want to see him. I don't want her to feel like I ain't, coming and stuff like that, right? And so that was my people pleasing side coming up. And so that was the argument. But then the argument that I had against that was, but this is my rest day. And it's not that I don't want to see him. I just need to take this time for myself because I'm looking at my tank right now and it's on E and I'm burnt out because I didn't work these last 3 days for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And so it would be unwise for me to push past that and go see him when it's like I got other days in the week that I can try to make time for it. Or that I can plan ahead. Maybe I can't do it this week, but I can plan for the next week. So I know I have this allocated time for that.
Yeah.
So I said, no, I'm not able to come today, but I'll try to come maybe next week or we'll plan a time where we're both free. And just doing that gave me so much peace. But the problem is people who do this will give into that and they'll do it over and over and over and just continuously extending and expending themselves to everybody else, thinking that they're making everybody else happy. And that's why I talk about their masters at neglecting themselves. And it's like, I know in that one moment, this is just one moment of where I was like, I'm going to choose to say no. Right. And granted, it wasn't no issue or nothing. Right. But it was just in me, I knew I needed to say that. But I can't imagine, well, actually I can't imagine, but people that continuously just say yes to everybody all the time. It's like, that's a lack of, yes, boundaries, but I feel like it's also a lack of self-love. It's like, you got to love yourself enough to say no. And to know, like you said, yeah, I got time, because I had time, but I didn't have the energy.
Yeah.
I didn't have the mental capacity to go out and I didn't feel like being social. I needed to recharge. I just worked 3 days.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
You may not even be like sleepy.
I wasn't even sleepy.
You could just be emotionally like, hey, I need some time. Like Jesus literally got away by himself and he just to pray.
He did it for a minute, didn't he? Did it say how many days? I don't know if it said how many days.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know it was a few times he did that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he
and I'm only doing this for a day though. That's
he had to get up. He had to get up and, you know, he's in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Just walking on the water and everybody else sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is going on? Like he's doing him. You know, so you have to take that time. It could just be like you said, like the emotional weight. Like you're always around people. I remember I was just we were getting ready for something. It was either a funeral or something. I had to take the piano to this other church. I was planning some type of episode with Jair, and we're on the phone. And then I had some other thought in the back of my head. I think there's something I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to remember it. And then just all those three things in that one moment, I was like, what is going on? I feel like I'm losing my mind. It's like, is this like a panic attack or something? It was so weird. This is the first time I ever, probably the only time I ever felt that. And Dad was outside the church door. He was like, hey, Ashley, you gonna bring the piano or you gonna? And I had Jair on the phone. I was like, hold on.
Oh.
I was like, I don't even know what to do. I was like, what is going on? I said, hold on, give me a second. I was like, hey, Jair, let me call you back, bro. So I just had to stop and be like, but the problem is we're so used to just rolling with the punches. At that moment, what I needed to do was sit down and just take a second and just sit there. But I had to try to move the keyboard and but it's not anybody's fault but mine, because I should have said that. Exactly. You know?
And that's another problem. We'll blame everybody else, but that's what I talked about. It's your job to implement the boundary.
Yeah.
Because nobody else knows. First of all, well, some people may know your schedule, but nobody knows how much energy you have. Nobody knows what I'm gonna say everybody. Everybody doesn't know how much energy you have, your schedule, what you're going through, right? You may have just lost somebody and somebody calling you, hey, can you come do this and that? They don't know that. Or you may be going through.
You get mad at them.
Exactly.
It's like they didn't know.
And that's why it's like you got to also, and this is for people who just want to become more wise, you got to also be conscious of you don't know what other people are going through. And I feel like when you start learning how to set boundaries with yourself, you won't see other people's boundaries as a threat to you. You'll see them as that's just being healthy.
Exactly.
And you know what I'm saying? That is how you create better relationships. Because you understand that you need boundaries. So, of course, they do.
Right. And that's usually what I see people that have problems setting boundaries, just that have problems with other people setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it is, I would say all the time, it's that they don't know how to set them themselves. It's like it always goes hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad at you for bringing up the fact that you eat healthy. Oh, he's a show off because I don't want to eat healthy myself.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to do the right thing for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people, yeah, they'll throw it in your face, but I'm saying like some people just I can't eat that. Come on, live like at work. We got
Oh,
let me give you a donut,
yeah.
bro. Oh, he's being extra. It's like,
Oh my
no.
goodness.
If you cared about yourself enough, you would understand that I'm just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's crazy because people, I don't know if I've heard that with me, but people definitely, how you gonna get mad because I got a boundary for myself?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that also just will show you the type of people you don't want to be around.
Right.
If you don't respect my boundaries, I don't want to be around you. And I think that's something that I actually want to talk about too, is because, yeah, boundaries are definitely good for us, right? I feel like God created them. He knows that they help us. But I feel like they're also indicators of people that you don't want to be around you.
Mm.
If you can't set boundaries, if you continue to implement boundaries and they can't respect them, I feel like that is a number one indicator. And we talk about becoming more wise and being discerning. They can't respect your boundaries. It's probably not a person you want to be around. Or if they constantly make fun of your boundaries and try to like you talked about, just live a little, just do this. You must got a lust problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And I also got a problem with eating food.
Right.
Unhealthy food.
Right.
And I also got an impulse buying problem. So
And also beat people if they talk too much junk. So watch out, bro.
Exactly.
I'm warning you, dog.
And so it's like, I'm not creating boundaries because I lack these problems. I'm creating boundaries because I have these problems.
Yeah.
I need the boundaries to protect myself from myself. And I also need these boundaries to protect me from you.
Right.
And so it's like, you telling me not to have something, but the something I have is just something that's protecting me. So how you gonna get mad at that? It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and I think it's so funny because okay, creating boundaries is like an ongoing process. So you're never going to get it perfect. So when you
Exactly.
should be working on something, you may be playing the game, right? And yes, you could be spending your time better. Obviously, there's nothing wrong playing a game. Sometimes it can be, good,
For sure.
but we can all be in excess of
For sure.
what we're not supposed to be doing.
For sure.
But because of that, people will say you're a hypocrite and therefore try to give you an excuse to set less boundaries. But it's like, I'm working on getting my boundaries together. But what you're not going to do is infiltrate my plan, what I have going on, the progress that I'm making in God, because I know I've made progress. And you're going to tell me that I need to well, the boundaries obviously aren't a good thing because you're a hypocrite. It's like if I see somebody who's actually a hypocrite and they tell me you should not smoke because and they're smoking right in front of me while they're saying it, I'm gonna say, is it a good thing what you're telling me, or is it a bad thing what you're telling me? If it's a good thing what you're telling me, I'm not gonna say, oh, you're a hypocrite because you smoke. I was like, no. You're smoking. You're stuck in something. And you're probably trying to warn me not to get like you. I appreciate you. Now, if you're trying to say I'm a bad person because I do this and you do that, that is where Matthew chapter 7 tells you what a hypocrite is. Somebody who is self-righteous and they try to judge you and tell you they see your sin more than their own. But a hypocrite is not somebody who is setting boundaries for their life and struggling a little bit with setting boundaries. Like you see somebody make a mistake and they say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And then they say you're a hypocrite.
That's good.
Like, no, I'm a human being. There's a difference in a human who falls than somebody who is acting like a perfect person who falls.
Exactly.
Those are two different things.
I'm just like, you could just start working on it. And so I think we talked about this at the very beginning. And so it's like now you start telling your friends or your like you talk about the changing. It's like, well, I just started working on setting these boundaries. And so I'm trying to do this, but I haven't got to this part yet. I haven't made it to this part yet. But now now you're trying to manipulate me and tell me pretty much I don't need to have boundaries in any area, or I only need to have boundaries in the area that you think I should have them in. And it's like, no, I'm just working on them. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is a little bit easier for me not to do, but I'm still working on it when it comes to the game because I like playing the game. But I know as far as like my sleep, I gotta go home right now because I need that. And I can implement that pretty easily. And so I think you have to be okay with the process of it
Yeah.
and understanding that your boundaries aren't going to change overnight, but they are going to change with a decision and
Yeah.
just continuously working that. And then you start putting it in finance, then you start putting it in relationships, then you start putting it in the gym, then you start putting it in food and the way you just do things. And then I feel like over time, you'll look back in the year and be like, wow, I used to have no boundaries. Now I got boundaries and I prioritize things way better than I used to. And it just keep getting better.
Bro, if you wanted to set the most strict boundaries for yourself, then why would I be a stumbling block to you?
Exactly.
Like if it's not beneficial and I see like, okay, I think you're hurting yourself, then obviously I'm gonna be like, yeah. Like if you're just like, I want to stay away from people forever, like, okay, that's stupid.
Yeah, and I
Like
wouldn't
that's
call that a
just you
boundary.
need therapy. Like because you're
Yeah,
just
that's a wall.
yeah, there we go. The difference between but most people, like I said, they'll set their boundaries where they need a wall, or they'll set their wall where they need
Well, no,
boundaries.
this is the
Where they need
thing.
a boundary, they don't set
I would say a
anything.
boundary is a fence
Yeah.
because it's something, or a guard, something
Yeah.
that can let the right things in and the wrong things out. And it's something you're able to kind of, it can be a discerning tool. But if
Yeah.
it's a wall, nothing's coming out and nothing's going in. And so you can close off a lot of relationships if you have a wall set up. And I wouldn't even call that a boundary. But if you have a fence up in a relationship, you'll let the right people in and you'll get the wrong people out. And you may not always, sometimes you may hold the fence open longer than you should and let the wrong people, but that's the part of discerning and becoming better at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people also need to understand what a boundary is, but what a boundary is not. Because if you think it's a
Exactly.
wall, then you'll be cold hearted. You won't, and you'll have a wall up and you won't let anybody in and you'll isolate all the time and never be around anybody. And I think that is important, but also a boundary is not, what was I going to say? It's not a manipulation tactic. So for instance, if somebody's calling me, I don't get to use the boundary as a way to try to change them. So it's like the boundary is to protect me from something they're doing, not for me to, oh, I'm going to use this because if you don't do this, then I'm going to go cold and I'm never going to talk to you again. It's like, no, you need to use that boundary. And if that's what it comes down to, then it's like, okay, like you have no choice. But I'm not saying I'm doing this because and so you can manipulate people is what I'm trying to get at. You want to use the boundary to protect you from people that don't respect it. Or like I said, use it as an indicator. So it's like, this isn't gonna work. Like you don't know how to respect it, so I can't be around you. But I'm not trying to use the boundary as a means to go cold against people or to, like I said earlier, kind of make my heart cold. Now it's like, now I don't talk to anybody because it's just like, well, I done been hurt so many times. Oh, this is a point I want to talk about real fast. People need to understand too when it comes to boundaries, and I'm talking about your heart, because a lot of people need to know this. The devil is after your heart. It's 1000%. So boundaries are there to protect your heart. That's why I talked about you got to know a boundary is not a wall, a boundary is a fence. When you have the boundary to protect your heart, you need to know that utilize it, utilize the fence in a way so that your big heart doesn't turn cold. Because people with big hearts really need to make sure they have boundaries because they will think that, oh, my big heart is the problem. No, your heart's not the problem. That's what the devil's after, but that's not the problem. The problem may just be your boundaries and the fact that you are giving it to wrong people or people that's going to abuse you or people that's going to misuse you.
Yeah.
But your heart in itself and your kindness, I told my friend this, I said, there's nothing wrong with your kindness. Cause she was like, I think I'm just too kind. I think I need to be mean. I said, no, and that's how the enemy gets your heart.
Yeah.
Cause he tricks you into thinking that your heart's the problem when it's really your boundary. I said, no, it's not your kindness. You don't need to be mean because you've been a good person this whole time. You just need to be nice and kind to the right people that's going to reciprocate it. Or you need to be kind to people that are good people to you. Or you need to be kind to somebody in a relationship that is actually going to be good for you and not people that's going to abuse you and take away from you. And I want people to understand that if you have a big heart or you have a good heart or a pure heart, use a boundary as a means to protect it so that you let the right people in and the wrong people out, but not as a means to make your heart cold, because that's not what a boundary is. It's not a wall. It's a fence. And that is so important, and I wish people would understand that. It is a fence to protect your big heart, not a wall to make it cold.
Boundaries create balance. People make irrational decisions, sometimes permanent, because they want to jump to an extreme because they're hurt.
Exactly.
You want to jump to the extremes because you're saying, "Oh, I can't," because it's a lot hard. It's a lot easier to just like you shoot this way, you don't see anything, or you don't hit it, and then you say, "Let me go aim for another one," and you shoot that one. They have to start all the way over figuring this out when you could stay in the same area and just try to true the scope. This is your goal the whole time. You're creating boundaries. You're truing the scope. This doesn't work. Let me pull back. You're gonna get it wrong. That doesn't mean that boundaries are wrong.
Exactly.
That means you just don't have them set up right.
It's the adventure in it.
You have to constantly adapt. Boundaries help you adapt. Extremes lead you to making irrational decisions. You do not want to jump to an extreme, like even in politics. I don't want to be so on the left that I'm allowing that ideology to make me extreme, or I don't want to be so on the right that I look at the people on the left as demons. I don't want to be so on the right that I am thinking that every single person on the left is against me. Like, politics has extremes, and then they have people that associate with a side and they're still rational. I mean, I'll say this right now. I know some people that are on the right and on the left that are rational human beings. I would suggest that they don't fully understand politics like they think they do. Even me, I feel like I understand it more than them, and I still don't understand it nearly enough to feel comfortable like discussing politics like I can teach somebody something. I have to take it as a student because it's not the priority of my life. It's a part of my life. And I just want to know enough about it to make decisions in that arena. But there are so many extremes to where instead of creating a boundary with someone from a different political party, we create a wall. Exactly. How in the world are you supposed to save other people?
Oh my gosh.
If you're creating a wall and you're creating an extreme and you say everybody that's Republican is racist, everybody that's Democrat is against is what, pro-abortion or whatever. They're trying to mutilate children. Like everybody on the left?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Like, yes, there's some ideology that's problematic, but you're gonna say every single person on the left, you're gonna view them all as the same type of Democrat. It's just, bro, just be real. That's all I'm saying. Just be real.
When you start dehumanizing people based on what party they're in, it's like,
just too much.
And that's what we talk about. Please, if you don't take nothing else, a boundary is not a wall. You want those to protect yourself. But when you start creating walls, and you talk about that with the politics and stuff, but just even in every aspect, it's like you can't even have conversations when you build these walls around everything. And it's like, well, they're this way, so I'm not gonna do anything about nothing. And it's like you just created a
It's
wall.
hid from them that are lost.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my, that is you just created
that's why
a
they don't
wall.
get it. It's like, bro, the Hebrew Israelites told us that too.
You can't even say anything now. When you get in these, and that's why I talk about boundaries.
We lost? Are they
protect
lost?
Relationships.
Yeah.
Because when you start using, I'm telling you, walls just
it's really lazy.
It's lazy
because you don't want to do the work to create what's needed. You take the lazy approach and just say, well, I'm not doing all that. But yeah, but that would be so healing and freeing to you, and it would make your life easier.
Let's just dehumanize them so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's harder to think. Like, even in conversation, like, you can't just create a boundary in conversation. You got to cut somebody off. There are moments where you need to separate from somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
But your decision, and it's so funny, the people you need to separate from are the ones you keep around and just keep being toxic with. But the ones that you need to just create a healthy boundary with, you're like, it's done. She said the wrong thing in my house.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, calm down. It wasn't that serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the boundaries needed, and that's it. And I wanted to read this verse, Galatians 1:10. For now, well, I'll say, for do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet pleased men, I should not be a servant of Christ. So, like you said, not having boundaries, very anti-God. The reason it's very anti-God is because God is about boundaries. So, and if you don't have any boundaries, you are not of God.
You can't be a Christian if you don't have boundaries.
You cannot be. Because you will allow anything in. That's what it says. A man without, an unstable man is like a city without walls, letting anything in, anything out. Obviously, walls.
Does it say unstable man? I thought it was
a double-minded man is unstable
on all his ways.
In all his ways.
What does it say about a man without walls is like a city?
Because what you said, like walls, that's true, but you're talking about like the way we speak about, oh, I had a wall up.
Yeah, for sure.
But a city without walls is a different context entirely.
For sure.
Yeah.
We was on Galatians, so I might as well just go ahead and throw this one out, unless you had something to add to that.
That was it.
This is actually Galatians 6, and this also just, well, I'll read it first. But Galatians 6:2, and I'm going to read Galatians 6:5. It says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ, right? And then it also says, three scriptures down, it says, for each will have to bear his own load. So one scripture saying, bear one another's burdens, and another saying, for each will have to bear his own load. So I think it's important for Christians to understand the difference between bearing somebody's burdens and carrying your own load. When somebody has a burden, that's something that they need help with. That's something they can't do on their own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's nothing wrong. And this is why the discussion around boundaries really needs to be talked about a lot, because it's so important of understanding what it is and what it's not. It's okay for you to help your friend. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's okay to sacrifice some of your time to do it.
Exactly. And that's when it comes to the discernment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you got to be willing. And like, for instance, this could be a practical example. Well, I'll get to that after. But it's okay to carry your brother's burdens, your friend's burdens, and help them as they go through life, and they help you and things like that. But you also have to be willing to carry your own load. And the difference between a burden and a load is, a burden is something you can't carry on your own. You need help.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have struggles. You're going to need people. We are humans. We need people. But you have to be willing to carry your own load. And those are the things that you can do. You can go to therapy. You can go to church. You can be up under a pastor. You can do research and read books. These are things that you can do. You can say no. That you have a mouth. You can say no. It may be hard, and you may sweat, and you may turn red, or it may make your heart go a little fast, but you can say no. And I'm not saying it doesn't take time, but that is the load that you have to carry. but it is also nothing wrong with carrying somebody else's burdens. And just a practical example for anybody. My friend, let's just say, for example, he needs a place to stay and he doesn't have any money. The boundary or me helping his burden may be like, okay, you can stay here, right? But the boundary is you got 2 months, and be willing to stick to that.
Yeah.
Because if you're not willing to get a job and to try to help yourself, then at that point, you're not even trying to carry your own load. You're not even trying to do what is required that you need to be doing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to help you because maybe you just got laid off or something's going on and you just need some, maybe going through whatever it is. You're right. You want to be there for your friends. So I'm not saying boundaries are ways to like, I'm not doing anything for nobody. Never. Right. You're going to have to make sacrifices. But my sacrifice can also be, you got 2 months. You know what I'm saying? And this is all I'm giving you. And it's you still helping them. You're still being there for them. But I feel like that's just a practical example. And it may be a year, you know, whatever. It's different for different people. And this is all like of what you can do. But that has got to be, that's why I say use the boundary as a discerning tool so that you know, like, this could work for me. I'm going to help you in this. I can do this. I can expend this money. But like, if you're going into debt to help people, I don't really think that's smart or wise at all.
I can't see
it's like
way
you want me to take out $5,000 to help you. I don't even have $5,000, so you want me to take out a loan? But it's like, well, you could go just do it yourself.
And then like, I let you borrow money, and you don't pay it back. First of all,
well, I got a bedroom in the house. I got an extra bedroom.
Dave Ramsey's rule is don't let anybody borrow money. If you hand it out, just
give it.
Might as well give it to him.
Yeah.
And don't expect it back.
Because that can ruin, relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be like, hey, it's whatever.
But if I got an extra bedroom in the house and I'm like, I have an extra bedroom, you can stay down there. But if I don't have a bedroom and I like, okay, well, you can sleep in my child's room or something, and I make them sleep in. It's like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you do that, but I just feel like for me, at least for me, that's too much. I'm not moving my child out of their room so that you can stay in there.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have an extra room, and I feel like that could equate to I don't have the money to give you. Now, if I had it, it'd be different, but I don't have it. So I feel like that's when you start stepping in from people pleasing and just expending resources that you don't have. And that's why we talk about, I forgot exactly what you were saying earlier, but it's about like, you want resources so that you can help people. You want more money so that you can help people. I feel like if you don't want more money, then you're thinking that money is only for you. It's like, I can use money to help people. I can use money. So now if somebody is coming to me and needs a place to stay, maybe I could put them in a hotel for a couple nights.
Don't none of us make enough money to say that we're even close to loving money.
Yeah, that
we're not, bro. Are you serious?
Maybe I think I really believe it.
You make $60,000 a year, you can possibly love money? No, you're not there yet.
Crazy.
I mean, I'm sure you probably could.
Yeah,
but
it don't show it.
Come on. Yeah, it don't show it because
you don't show it. You ain't making enough to really show that you really love money. Like you might say.
Now, if you sign us some Illuminati papers, like now
if you got greed and you just but that is so like
we're way far away from the mindset of loving money.
It's like bro, but you can really tell you love money when you don't love God's creation. Like if I'm doing things to get money that are devaluing people, then clearly I love money. Yeah. Or if I'm doing things to get money that devalues my relationship with God, then clearly I love money.
Yeah.
But
if I'm doing money your God.
Yeah, exactly. But if I'm doing things that, and this, I guess it could kind of be boundaries, but regardless, if I'm doing things that God loves and I'm getting rewarded in those things, how do I love money? I'm just using the gifts God gave me and I'm doing things that I feel like He put on my heart to do. That's why I feel like this podcast, it's like, we start getting paid off this podcast, does that mean that, or like, you know what I'm saying, we start getting a lot of money and deals and whatever, you know what I'm saying, whatever's coming, because I do believe that it's going to happen. But it's like, am I wrong now because we're doing something and getting paid for it? Like, that's a crazy mindset.
It's crazy. That's why I don't have any problem with pastors getting paid.
Bro, I hate when they...
I have no problem with it at all.
I hate when they bring that up.
If my pastor has sown into me for all these years, I'll be like, yo,
And we're mad
I would
because
feel bad for not putting any money in the ministry, bro.
bro,
I would feel
it's
so bad because, like, dude, you're literally giving your life to this, like, bro.
I
Not to
remember
say that I don't know. Biblical, it's a debate. Like, do tithes go to the pastor or whatever? I'm just saying, I agree with pastors getting paid.
for sure.
I don't know if they're supposed to get the 10% of the tithes, but I'm just saying, I totally agree. I agree with musicians if get paid if they can.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I remember somebody told me, it's like you want him to bless everybody else in the congregation with words and he studies and does all of this and he blesses everybody else's family, but his own family can't get blessed. It's like that doesn't make any sense. But I feel like those are for people, that's for a conversation for people who more like, I mean, I'm not saying it's not happening. I guess that conversation is happening. But like I just feel like that's a crazy argument to feel like he shouldn't get paid.
Yeah,
They he should work a full-time job.
They use that as a reason not to go to
They don't
church.
understand what pastoring is and how hard it can be.
Yeah. And now if you just see somebody just, lazily just, getting his little chat GPT message together and,
Are people really
same
doing
message every Sunday. I mean,
crazy.
if it's possible, I'm sure they are. Buying their little templates online. I'm like, I don't have a problem with people, pulling in information. I'm just saying, like, if there are methods to make it easier, then that means you need to be just adding that much more time to make yourself better in other areas. But like, use the time to minister to us, help us grow. Like, do I feel like I have grown when I come to your church? Okay, cool.
Exactly.
If you got time to go on vacation, great. I'm glad about it.
Bruh. If you're not okay with a pastor, oh my goodness, taking a vacation, you need a vacation?
Yeah, that's messed up.
It's even more. I wish I knew another word it's like, God.
It's atrocious.
But
What?
I don't know what word.
Crazy. You got
but
to
it's
the
like,
angle.
Yeah, bro, it's so messed up to feel like a pastor can't take a vacation, but you get to, and you need him, but he don't, and he's human too. It's like, so you feel like he's not under any type of pressure. He's not going through any type of stress. And life is just completely good for him all the time. Everybody needs rest. God created us with the innate need to need it.
I don't think I would feel comfortable with a pastor being able to give me what's needed, with him having peace and being stable, if he was not taking some type of rest period.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you're taking time away from God.
Sometimes it could be you're not taking time away from God, you're taking time away from people.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I just need to get away from, like, you need to keep your relationship with God on vacation.
You need to go have some fun and enjoy yourself.
But it's
you need that.
Church is spiritual, it's with people, it's a business, it's a lot of different parts. I just need to take a time away from that. And if Jesus could do it and did it, we're not better than him. So why do we feel like we can't? But
you got a vacation boundary.
Everybody, all
That's
these jobs
crazy.
got PTO and everything like that. And it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. Everybody needs rest. Everybody needs time to go and just, God put all this earth on here and we can't just go enjoy that and be like, come on, man. Boundaries are so important for just taking care of your health and your mind and spirituality and all of that. Like, it's so important. So important.
So one of the last things I wanted to say was, you have to, again, firmly communicate your boundaries. And I've fallen victim to this. Children explain, adults inform. And I have fought like Jair. He told me, bro, I think you might have a problem of like explaining yourself too much. And I have grown from that somewhat, but obviously it's something that I feel like I have to explain myself because I so want the person to understand why I have to do what I do. I don't want them to feel bad. But like some people, you can kind of explain because they'll they'll get it, and they don't necessarily require an explanation, but like us two, we're talking about it, but we're kind of growing from the understanding of it.
Mm-hmm.
You may just want them to know what you have going on, but you're not necessarily explaining, like defending yourself, because you shouldn't be doing
Exactly.
that. You should just be, if God told you right now, hey, I want, like he confirmed it, I want you to go drive to New York tonight, sell your stuff and drive to New York, and there's going to be $1 million there waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't tell you when you're coming back. People are like, Jesse, where are you going? God, you're going to say, God told me to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is from God. But for some reason, when we're creating boundaries, we don't think that God has given us instruction to create boundaries. God has already informed in his word that you should do that. This is something God wants me to do. I'm so easy to say that.
That's so good.
I'll just say it, like, yeah. But we're afraid because we want to explain so much. It's like, bro, are they gonna explain it anyways? Are they gonna understand your explanation
Understand it,
anyways?
yeah.
You have to inform a lot of times, and that's something that I have to learn more, to just say, these are my boundaries, and it's gonna hurt some people sometimes. But it's gonna hurt people in your church. It's gonna hurt people, that you're talking to, your friends, your family.
You gotta be okay with that. Not
Yeah,
saying it's
people
easy,
that are
but
using you and you think they're your friends and they're not. Like, you gotta tell them, hey, I'm not doing this. People on your job, your boss, she's like, hey, I want you to do this, 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 and this. You're like, I only have time for a few things. There's a boundary needed. Like, some people don't want you to go to the restroom. There are certain jobs. I've been on jobs like that. It's crazy. It's like, hey, you're gonna write me up for going to the restroom? Like, let's get real. Like, look at my numbers and stop complaining. I'm going to the restroom. Like, I'm not asking you. Like, bro, talk to HR, whatever you got to do, but they can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's struggling with a crazy job like
and
that,
they out there, and even bosses talking to you
because I've been at
reckless.
them.
Yeah.
I've been at them. It's crazy, but yeah,
And
that's
if
my
you don't
final thoughts.
stand on them,
But
people, and that's when you talk about implementing them, if you don't stand on your boundaries, people will try to cross those. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be like, I said no. And you talk about explaining too. I feel like to certain people, I'll explain like why. You know what I'm saying? But when I feel like it's becoming from a why to me having to defend why I need this,
yeah,
it's like I don't need to do that. I done
right.
told you like this boundary, why this is important to me. And if you keep trying to bend and twist, and it's like it's for my protection. And if that's not okay with you, then like you said, like you do have to be okay with, because this gonna happen. It's gonna happen. When you have boundaries, you're going to disappoint people. It's inevitable. And you have to be okay with the fact that that's gonna happen. But if you're not okay with ever disappointing anybody, then you're gonna just continue to disappoint yourself. So somebody's gonna get disappointed. It's gonna be a hard somewhere down the line of your life. So whichever hard you want to choose, whatever person you want to disappoint, I'm not gonna disappoint God and what He's created and disappoint myself. I'm gonna have to disappoint other people, because like you talked about in the beginning, and the main purpose of this, you gotta be able to do your mission properly and what God put you here for. And if you don't disappoint anybody else on this life, you're probably not doing your mission correctly. If you're doing your mission right, you're probably gonna disappoint a lot of people. And you gotta be okay with that, because that's just what comes with it.
And the sad part is, if you try to please people, they're still going to be disappointed anyways.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then they're going to continue to require it. So it's probably just not a one-off.
God is satisfied with you giving him your full heart and just attempting it. He's like, good job, my son. You gave it the effort. And you failed, but I'm still happy. I still love you because of where your heart is.
In obedience.
God knows where your heart is. You failed over and over again. And God's like, That's my son right there. The way he keeps getting up, that's my daughter. The way she keeps getting up after she failed, after the devil knocked her down, after she was mean to herself, she got up anyways and served me.
And
But
that's the process.
you mess up with the people you're trying to please,
Oh,
they're gonna look at you like you didn't even try. And that's when you start giving up.
that's
You
why you
can't
got to
fail
get those
God,
people that
but you
really
can fail
respect
people.
it. Exactly. You got to get those people that really see that you're trying. People that really be like, I can see. Oh, and that's more of like just getting a good supporter, good people to support you, rather than necessarily boundaries. But when you're really trying with boundaries and you got people that say, I see you, so important. But when you got people that where you're trying and it's like you talked about, just knocking you down or whatever, I think that's why, like I talked about earlier, the boundaries are so important because they can really be indicators on who you should and shouldn't have in your life. You got people that respect your boundaries, it's probably a sign that's a good person. When you got people that don't respect your boundaries, probably shouldn't be in your life.
They don't respect themselves.
They don't respect themselves for sure.
Well, we gave some scripture. We gave, our heart to this conversation. And hopefully you pulled, the viewers pulled something away from it to adapt. I know, we could talk about these things. We're constantly learning things over and over again, good discussion. So, just stay tuned. Like I said, you can like and consider subscribing. And I pray that y'all are blessed. Good discussion.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.